And joining us now from Capitol Hill, Republican Senator Jim DeMint of South Carolina, one of the opponents of this comprehensive immigration reform legislation. The president says he's going to see us all at the signing ceremony. Senator DeMint, did he convince you? You ready to go ahead and sign on the dotted line?
No, I'm not convinced, and I don't think there's going to be a signing ceremony anytime soon. The president did a good job. He was very warm. He told a lot of us who were critics that he didn't see it as anything personal, that he just wanted to get this bill done. He heard from a lot of senators, even senators who've been supporting the bill, who said that we should take this a little slower and prove to the American people that we're going to enforce the border security laws that we've already passed.
Did you give him a piece of your mind, Senator DeMint?
No, I had planned to say some things, but since supporters of the bill were actually counseling him to take it slower, send some money over for the border security, I didn't feel like I needed to say anything. But the president and I spoke. He was very friendly, and so was I. So I still support him in a lot of ways, but on this issue, I don't think the bill is the right bill for the country. That's what the American people have told me, and that's what the senators told the president today.
Well, there are some Republican senators, including John Kyle of Arizona, your colleague from South Carolina, Lindsey Graham, John McCain, who are fiercely in support of the president's stance on this issue. This is really splitting the base, the Republican Party. I assume you agree on that.
Well, the base is very united, but we've got certainly some senators on the Republican side who are supporting this, and I admire them for wanting to solve the problem. But unfortunately, they're trying to take too big a bite at this apple. We need to take some steps that prove to the American people that this government can be trusted to enforce our immigration laws before we give amnesty to millions of folks who came here illegally. So I think some of my friends are on the wrong track here. They've got the best intentions, and so does the president. But this is not a good bill, and we need to step back and start over.
Why is Lindsey Graham wrong and you're right?
Well, I'm sure he would tell you he's right and I'm wrong. But on this issue, it's just irrational for the American people to believe that the government is going to enforce the border provisions in this bill when we passed one a year ago to begin fencing and barriers that has not been done. And so there are a lot of things that we can do that are already in law that would show the American people we're serious, but we're not doing it. And I think that's why the American people don't trust us to get this thing done.
Are you worried, Senator DeMint, that if this collapses right now, it will really undermine the president's credibility for the remainder of his term in office? It will sort of highlight he's become a lame duck given all the effort he's put into this.
Now, I don't think so. I think it could actually work the opposite directions. If he continues to push this bill in spite of the way the American people feel about it, I think that's more likely to undermine him than to say we've listened, we're going to take this step by step, and maybe come back next year and look at how to deal with the 12 million who are here after we've proved that we're going to move ahead with real enforcement measures.
The president and others say if you do nothing right now, which is what you want, it's de facto amnesty. It's just going to allow more and more illegal immigrants to come into this country and start working. What do you say to that argument? I'm sure the president made that argument at lunch today.
Well, I'm not for doing nothing. I'm for doing what we've said we were going to do. We've already passed border security. We've passed a secure ID program that the states are supposed to continue to expand and implement. There are a lot of things that are already in law that we're not doing, and that's what's signaling to the American people that we can't be trusted to do what this bill says it's going to do, except to give amnesty for 12 million people who came here illegally.
If the president is right and you're wrong, and he does sign this legislation into law, what will happen?
Well, obviously, I'll be disappointed if we do this. If it's signed into law, we'll have to continue to make sure things are enforced. But frankly, I don't think it will be. I think I'll continue to battle to make sure it's given the debate time and the consideration that it should. And that means stepping back, enforcing the border, getting a worker ID program, and then moving ahead with the provisions that we need to how we're going to deal with those who are here illegally.
Senator DeMint, thanks very much for coming in.
Thank you.
And Senator DeMint is among the most prominent Senate opponents of the immigration compromise, along with fellow GOP conservatives Jeff Sessions of Alabama and Tom Coburn of Oklahoma. Coburn declared the bill would undermine the rule of law by benefiting illegal immigrants over the needs of the American people. A dozen senators of both parties were instrumental in crafting the immigration compromise and in trying to sell it to skeptics. The most prominent include Republicans John McCain and John Kyle of Arizona, Lindsey Graham of South Carolina, Mel Martinez of Florida, and Arlen Specter of Pennsylvania. Top Democrats include Ted Kennedy of Massachusetts, Ken Salazar of Colorado, and Dianne Feinstein of California. Even advocates of the bill, though, acknowledge it's imperfect, but they do see it as the best possible chance to pass comprehensive immigration reform. Right now, as we know, President Bush is stepping up his role as supporter in chief of the bill, as we reported, unless Mr. Bush, though, can persuade 15 more Republicans in the Senate to support the measure. The Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid has indicated he won't bring the compromise back to the floor for a vote. We'll watch the story closely. Still ahead.